Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. So once again, I'm forced to forego doing the videos that I actually want to do in order to post a video that I actually have to do. So a few minutes ago, I sat down to record my initial impressions on Mass Effect Andromeda. As so many others, I played the trial, and I had a great deal of thoughts of a very mixed nature involving this, the latest offering from BioWare. Yesterday, I had heard rumblings about the facial animations, or sometimes the complete and utter lack thereof, were due to BioWare's hiring of an inexperienced woman as lead animator on the project. This following on the back of several other unsubstantiated rumblings that BioWare's hiring practices focused more on gender and racial diversity than it did individual experience. And now I think I can see where the source of that rumbling came from. Allie Rosemary Leost, an EA staff member who worked in their motion capture department in Vancouver, has suffered a massive wave of harassment on social media both yesterday and today. People posting on her Twitter statements such as, "You're really bad at your job. I guess this is what happens when the employee based on sex organs instead of talent." And even more vulgar postings like this one that says, "Can I stick my dick in you so you can learn a few more facial expressions?" Now, this whole process from either side of what is quickly being turned into a war over social and political ideologies is beyond repugnant to me, and I wanted to talk to everyone about this sort of trend that we have been seeing in video games. I've actually seen it in the comments on my own channel, and I don't believe it is a positive turn of events. Now, this particular issue involving Allie Leost was first kicked into high gear by Ethan Ralph of The Ralph Retort. Link to his posting and the others are in the description down below. The article itself, while attempting to appear as a legitimate news article or informational piece at first glance, is, well, let's be honest, it looks like a troll wrote it. Entirely subjective and doing its best to take as many things out of context as possible in order to paint his intended narrative, I found it to be completely and utterly uninformative. Now, this is becoming very common in the realms of those that call themselves games media. KOTAKU, a site that literally is games media, was no better, resorting to name-calling before one even got past the title itself, and resorting to attributing the whole situation to Trump and Gamergate at the very end of the article. But before we get into the meat of what I'm actually here to discuss, let's talk about what is apparently now a controversy. We have purported evidence that Ethan Ralph showing Allie Leost's Twitter account is showing lead animator for Mass Effect Andromeda. And if true, I still fail to see why it would matter. According to a response from BioWare, this is apparently not the case. Aaron Flynn, BioWare's GM, had this to say. Recently, a former EA employee was misidentified as a lead member of the Mass Effect Andromeda development team. These reports are false. We respect the opinions of our players and community and welcome feedback on our games, but attacking individuals, regardless of their involvement in the project, is never acceptable. And these two pieces from these two very different sites serve to underscore the issues that seem to be more and more prevalent within the games industry each and every day. We have a massive amount of people lashing out at some woman over a perceived involvement with an aspect of a game that these people happen to be dissatisfied with. And to be honest, the facial animations are horrendously bad so far, and they do need to be patched. And given the amount of feedback they've been getting and BioWare's history of listening to their customers, I am willing to accept that there will most likely be a patch at some point down the road that will fix the facial animations as well as other issues. But that doesn't change the fact that once again we're faced with a massive wave of butthurt fanboys and girls who have decided to attack what turned out to be a completely innocent woman. And why? Well, two reasons really. First, people don't bother to fact check anymore. And secondly, because once again, this massive wave of people have shown the pitfalls of combining the internet brave with mob mentality. Now, in an all too often occurrence, we see people acting absolutely horrible to each other online that most would never even begin to consider saying directly to someone's face. Couple that with hundreds or sometimes thousands of people piling on, and these hate mobs can very quickly take on a life of their own. This sort of thing is only exacerbated by articles such as Kotaku's. Being not content to report on situations and the facts involved, Kotaku's news piece was oozing with vitriol and bile, and while a certain amount of that is understandable and possibly even justified, this person is supposedly a member of the press, a person of the media. And what do we have from them instead? We have their latching on to every opportunity to push their own ideals and political agendas through their articles. Of course, Ethan Ralph could very much be accused of doing the exact same thing, and to a certain extent those accusations would be correct. However, this entire situation on both sides of the fence is, to my mind, fundamentally wrong. Video games are entertainment. They're a hobby that, no matter what one's political affiliation or gender, can be enjoyed universally. But as with everything, those who care more about furthering their own agenda decided to instigate and incite, rather than inform and educate. Now, the Ethan Ralph article, in addition to being exceptionally poorly written, made use of innuendo and base sexualization in an attempt to mock and belittle someone over a situation that had virtually no basis in fact. Now, this only fuels the accusations of misogyny and serves to accomplish nothing except to rabble-rouse. The article from Kotaku was no better. In what could amount to nothing more than an opinion piece, the article serves to inflame and incite those whose political and ideological beliefs are at the opposite end of the spectrum. Now, from this situation and others, it's painfully evident that there are a very vocal subset of gamers that care nothing for the truth. Those with whom fact and reason matters very little, if at all. And it is this mindset that is exacerbated by media pieces such as these. Pieces that also care nothing more than getting their own pound of flesh over what they perceive to be some form of slight. Now, if this woman were the lead animations artist for the project, it still would not matter. The fact that she is a woman also would not matter. In the end, these people are blaming a single person for some of the issues that are being experienced within a game that was designed by a large number of people. Whether man or woman, there is never an excuse to attack a person in such a way. Now, I can understand people being frustrated. I can even understand them being upset. I, too, was extremely excited for this game. The Mass Effect world is among my favorites, and I've been looking forward to the game's release with bated breath since I first heard about it. The myriad issues, including the utter lack of facial animations in some areas, is troubling. But it is no excuse to attack a person directly about it. Especially not someone who's completely innocent. If you want to get things fixed, then reach out to BioWare. Let them know your concerns and your frustrations, but don't attack individuals. It accomplishes nothing outside of making you look like a piece of garbage, and it serves to give these political mouthpieces like Kotaku and the Ralph Retort yet one more opportunity to push their agenda onto gamers in the most ham-fisted and unimaginative of ways possible. Games should be about gaming. They should not be about furthering your political agenda. But that's just me, in my opinion. I may be a bit naive, but I personally despise any attempt to bring politics into gaming. We see enough of it in everyday life, and games are supposed to be an escape from that. A respite in a world that can sometimes be exceptionally difficult for many. Games are supposed to be about fun, not about your bitterness over how a woman might have gotten a job or who you think should be president. My advice would be, stop stupidly attacking people for no good reason. Mass Effect Andromeda is not a perfect game, but it is still far from a bad game. So maybe instead of griping about the game so much, maybe just play it and have some fun instead. Or if you aren't having any fun, express your disapproval to the developers, not an individual. And as always, don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is not going to be a fun topic of discussion by any means, but to ignore these senseless mob attacks on people and the mongrel games journalists attempting to fan the flames is to be complicit in their actions. And please do like and share, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Links to my Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, and everything else are in the description down below. Once again, I'm SidAlpha, and thanks for watching.